Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning into the first episode of My Name is Dad podcast. I am Brandon Benson, and I welcome you to the very first podcast of My Name is Dad. All right, and before we get started here, we have a sponsor already. I know you're thinking, how in the hell can you have a sponsor and it's your first episode? Well, we do because it's my own business. So I'm sponsoring myself, and that is Point B Grading and Turfgrass Maintenance, LLC. We provide laser grading services for your driveway, for your sports field, your baseball infield, your softball infield, your entire sports field, whatever you're looking for. Anything you need laser graded, housing pads or, like I said, a driveway, something like that, just let me know. And I also offer, I'm a landscape contractor, so there's irrigation services I can provide, and just, turfgrass consulting. So please, check out pointbgrading.com. That is pointbgrading.com, pointbgrading.com. All right. Now that's out of the way. I'm going to start out let's just set some background information and some context as to why would I even do this podcast? So, long story short, I'm going through a divorce, and this podcast is not, I want to make it very clear, this is not about revenge or bashing or slander or, defamation. I definitely don't want any of those type of lawsuits against me. I don't want any of that. That's not what this podcast is about. But it's the foundation of why I'm starting this podcast. My divorce has been going on since, it's probably, less than a year, but more than 6 months it's been going on, whatever. And I've been seeing a therapist for a while now, and I am a huge proponent of therapy. If you're listening to this and if you're on the fence of, well, I don't, I kind of like to see a therapist, but I don't want to sound weak or, I'm embarrassed to see a therapist. Please just go see a therapist. I'm telling you, it helps. It every time, except for one. So I'm 90% success rate on therapists. But please, that's probably going to be an episode 2. When we talk about our last marriage counselor and how terrible she was. But besides that point, please, if you need help, if you think you need help and you're not sure, just go get it. I happen to use this time. I'm using BetterHelp. I'm sure you've heard the episodes. They're not a sponsor of this podcast, but it's super easy. I'm telling you, super easy. I do a video conference every week. It's less than going in person, I believe, even if you don't have insurance. So please just go get some help, talk to it is beneficial. I promise you that. Okay. So again, I've been talking to my therapist for a while now and all these things. And, I just found that I feel so much better, after I talk to my therapist. I'm just I have a good day and I feel so good and got some stuff off my chest and all this stuff. So I was telling her this, man, I just, I feel so much better. And one of my last sessions, I told her, I said, hey, I should do a podcast, and I have all the equipment. I've been, I was thinking maybe just doing a podcast again, and just kind of being just a way to get things off my chest, just a way to express my feelings. We talked about always being, my therapist and we talked about always being a better communicator and how it's a never ending battle or a goal to be a better communicator. It's there's always one more thing you can do. There's always, I could have said this different where it translated more to the person, or I could have said it this way where it had more meaning. So you're never a perfect communicator, right? It's always, you can always improve. And I said, that's what I want to do. That's kind of a little bit of the basis behind everything. So that's what I was telling my therapist, and she totally was like on board. Like, yes, I think it's a good idea. There's some boundaries, some barriers. I was like, yes, absolutely. I absolutely understand that. And I was just thinking, like, I just have like this thing where I don't ever want to burden people with my problems. I don't ever want to, be like, oh, Brandon's calling again, or like this person's having a good day and I'm going to call them because I'm having a bad day and now it ruins their day. I never want that. So for me, I was thinking this kind of like a compromise of like, I can express my feelings. I can tell people on this podcast how I'm feeling, what's going on in my life, and maybe it relates to other people and they can relate to it and not think that they're crazy or not think that they're alone in having these feelings. And then also my friends and my family they can hear what, they can hear stuff from me. They can hear my feelings and how I'm doing through this podcast on their own account, right? They can listen to it whenever they want. Now, obviously, if you need help, I need help, I'm going to directly call somebody, but it was just like a thing where they don't have to check up on me and I don't have to ruin their day if they're having a good day, or they are having a good day. They're like, oh, I want to listen to Brandon's podcast. Great. It's not, it's like, it's more on them and it's not on me. So that's kind of what I'm coming at for this podcast. But so in talking to my therapist, I have kind of, made it a goal of myself to be as genuine, to be as honest, to be, like the most true to myself as I can be. I don't want to pretend to be someone else that I'm not. I'm not trying to put on a show. I'm not trying to pretend happy and I'm really not. I think that's like the whole deal of it. Just, I want to express my feelings. One of the things I always used to think was like, no one wants to listen to me, but I don't want to tell people my problems. No one wants to listen, but I'm also the one who's like, well, I don't want to bother people with my problems, So what am I to do? So again, I just want to be as genuine, honest, trustworthy, and again, if I don't want to bash anybody. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but my truth, my feelings are my feelings, and I'm going to express them. That's part of this deal, and I hope people relate to that. So the reason, sort of like why I've sort of taken this approach of like, I just want to be genuine. I want to be genuine, and honest, and I just want people to know who I am, or, I don't want to be a fake person to people. I used to take this method when we used to do job interviews, and it was just like, I'm just going to be who I am. I'm not trying to, I'm trying to sell myself. I'm trying to sell who I am, not who I want me to be. So that was my thing. I want to sell myself, not who maybe the perfect job description person is. So that's what I would do. So I would go in and be like, this is who I am. If you're not on board with what you're getting, you don't like my vibe, or you don't like what I've said, then fine. There's another job. There's another company out there. There's something else out there that will want me. So that's kind of like, I'm kind of like basing my whole life on now, is that, I want to just be true and genuine. And I'm taking that approach in my life. I'm taking that approach in online dating, which I have plenty of fucking, opinions about, but just in dating and meeting people and everything in general, I just want to be genuine, honest person. And it's not that I don't ever want to change. I'm bettering myself. I'm continuing to better myself. That's why I started going to therapy to better myself, to process things. I don't need to be fake and, try to physically look better in front of people by losing a bunch of weight. That's to me, it's like I'm working on my mental health first. And then that will come with, better, treatment of myself and my body. I'm not trying to be fake and put on a show that, oh, see, look, I'm doing so much better now because, that's not what I'm doing. Okay. I'm working on myself. Like I said, though, I'm taking this approach in my life, and that's the basis of this podcast. I'm not trying to. I'm totally. I want to accept my responsibilities, my wrongs that I've done. I'm totally freely willing to share them with you as this podcast goes on. I'm not trying to, I don't want to blame anyone else for my problems. I don't want to burden other people with my problems. So that's why I was saying, I was like, I'm just going to create this podcast and express my feelings and what's going on in my life, and people can judge whatever they want, or people can relate to it, or people can then, reach out to me or whatever. I don't know, but this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to do it. All right. So if you are wondering, and I put a lot of thought into this, because I've been thinking about doing this for a while, and then I ran it by my therapist and stuff, and I thought the name of the podcast. Okay, people are going to ask me. I know number one person is going to ask me. My mom. My mom's going to ask me why did you pick this name for your podcast? Well, the name of the podcast is My Name is Dad. Okay, and it has a couple meanings. There's a couple things, and I have a couple notes here. But okay, so just during this situation in my life, this divorce and all this stuff going on with me, that being a dad, a father to my kids, to my boys, is the number one most important thing to me in my life. Honestly, like my kids, I would do anything for my kids. They're literally the most important thing in my life. I would put them above myself. I've already done those things. But to my kids, my name is Dad to them. And that's super important to me, that I'm trying to be a good father. I'm trying to be a good dad. And I just think like, that is who I am. My name is Dad to my kids. My name is not liar or cheater or asshole or piece of shit. That's not my name. My name is Dad. And my children are the most important things in my life. Providing for them and creating life experiences and raising them and seeing their dreams and goals come true for them. That is the most important thing for me. So that's kind of how it came to be, that my name is Dad, and that's the most important thing. That's the most important name for me. Is my name is Dad. Now, if you're thinking, so how did you come up with that? So basically, I was kind of like going through my playlist of music, and I saw this song. The name of the song is My Name is Mud. It's by Primus. So and I thought, oh, my name is Mud. And then it just bam, hit me. Oh, my name is Dad. My name is Dad. And it was like, well, this is why this means this to me and all this stuff. So if you have the opportunity, I obviously don't have the license to play the song. It's like a whole long process, and you got to pay money and all this stuff for it. And this is the first episode. But if you want to go look up the song My Name is Mud by Primus, then you can you just change out the word mud for Dad. Then you have yourself a nice little song. So that's the thing. All right. So I also wanted to talk just very quickly about what this podcast is going to be and future episodes. This podcast is not going to be just me ranting and crying and about my divorce and all that stuff that's happened. No, that absolutely not. That's just the basis of why I'm starting this podcast. So I think, but I still do think though that this podcast is not to entertain you. This podcast is more about me. And me expressing my feelings, and it's an opportunity for me to communicate, to be a better communicator, to bond with my children, to, just get things off my chest that normally that some of us guys, us, husbands, fathers, where we bottle in because we have to not appear weak. That we can't express our feelings because we express our feelings and then they're used against us to make us feel bad, make us feel weak, or you have someone who I recently had, some girl I was seeing, and she was like giving me a hard time because I felt sad. Like I'm allowed to feel sad. So hit the bricks. It's okay. It's okay to have feelings. It's definitely okay to express your feelings. It's okay to go see a therapist. These things are okay. And if people aren't willing to accept that, then kick rocks. All right. So future episodes are not going to be all very, very serious like this. We're going to try to have some fun. Okay. The podcast should be fun. I know this first one kind of sucks a little bit because it's just the first one, but there will be a lot of episodes about sports. We're going to talk a lot of sports. We're going to talk a lot of stuff about dudes. We're going to talk a lot of stuff that dudes like sports. We're going to have some episode with my kids. Birdie's a NFL draft prospect expert. So we're going to come in. We're going to have episodes about the NFL draft. We're also going to talk politics or things in the news that are happening. Stuff just about being a dad, being a divorced dad, being a single dad, dating as a divorced dad in your 40s. It's going to be everything. Okay. I don't know what the next episode is going to be, but it's going to be everything. And again, this episode or this podcast is not about, this is the only thing we talk about. No, and again, it's not about you. It's more about me and communicating and with my kids and stuff. But I hope you find it entertaining. I hope you find it relatable. And that's the point. I'm not going to do a lot of advertising. That's not the goal. It's just about, communication, and all those sort of things. All right. So, this podcast is, you're going to find it on Spotify, and, I want you to listen. I hope that you find it relatable. And please reach out to me. Again, I'm trying to be genuine, honest, and open. And if you have questions, I will answer them 100% truly. I guarantee you that shit. All right. Thank you. And my name is Brandon Benson, and thank you for listening. And we'll see you hopefully in a couple days or a week. I don't know. There's no schedule for the podcast. We're just going to put them out and see what happens. So thank you for listening, and see you on the next episode of My Name is Dad.